Hello everyone, welcome to part 3 of chapter 3. In this part we are going to talk about planning for information security implementation. Before we start this chapter, let me just explain to you the difference between the CIO and CISO. Before, we didn't even have a word called CIO. We only had CEO, which is Chief Executive Officer. CIO is a Chief Information Officer, which is sits at the high level of the organization and works with the CEO in order to create like a strategic plan and also in order to oversee the overall of the information technology department. CISO is a new terminology which is called Chief Information Security Officer, which also plays another important role in translating the strategic plan into tactical and operational information security plans. CISO reports directly to CIO, so CISO is not the same as CIO. It's another position that reports to CIO. So the CIO charges the CISO and other IT department managers with creating and adopting plans that are consistent with the supportive IT strategic plan. CISO making sure also that the information security plan is there, and that information security plan directly supports the entire organization and other strategies of other business units. So it's not only the IT plan, it will just, the information security plan, it encompasses the entire organization strategies of other business units, not just the IT. So the job description for the CISO, he or she creates a strategic information security plan with a vision for the future of information security at the company. So basically, that person creates the vision of where the information security of this organization is going to go. So this person understands the fundamental business activities that are performing by the company and suggest appropriate information security solutions that can protect the assets of this organization. Also, CISO develops action plans, create budgets, status report and also communicates to the top management, to the other top management of the organization in order to improve the information security of the company. So planning for the information security, once the CISO kind of initiates that the strategic plan and the plan is translated into IT and information security objectives and tactical and operational plans, information security implementation can begin. Information implementation can be in two ways: bottom-up approach and top-down approach. So in here we have the top-down approach, which is initiated by the top management, and we have the bottom-up approach, which is initiated by the administrator and technicians. So for the top-down approach, as we mentioned, the high-level management needs to support that. And basically, normally there is a person that's called champion, and that champion is responsible for leading that event. So the upper management, they need to have the support in order for that initiation to be started. So that person, that champion, will have the influence to move the project forward. Normally, sometimes they will also have a JAD session, which JAD session is just a various workshop and sessions that are that the users can be involved and the various teams can be involved in those sessions. And in that way, they can actually create this initiation. The next section that we are going to talk about will be about system development life cycle, but it's going to be focused on security of system development life cycle. SDLC is a methodology for design and implementation of the information systems, and maybe you have taken it in your previous classes, system development life cycle. It is basically a project may be initiated by events or planned. So and at the end of each phase, a review can occur where those people who are reviewing it determine if the project should continue or discontinue, or it has to be outsourced or postponed. Security system development life cycle, it differs in several parts, but overall methodology is very similar to the system development life cycle. The security system development lifecycle process involves identification of specific threats and the risk that they represent, as well as any subsequent design and implementation of specific controls to counter those type of attacks and manage those risks. This actually shows the system development life cycle, which uses a traditional waterfall model. So the waterfall indicates the work product of each phase falls into the next phase to serve as a starting point. Security system development life cycle is may differ from the traditional SDLC in various ways, but the methodology, of course, is the same. So they are actually 6 steps that loop back to the beginning. First is investigations, which creation of security policies to meet some goals or outcomes. A team can define the scope, goal, and constraint of that project. The team can also determine whether an analysis can be done. The second part is analysis. The team analyzes existing policies and programs, which in this case, in the security system development lifecycle, is a threat. And they find the current controls, and also the team analyzes the legal issues that are affecting designing of the solutions. So the team also analyzes the risk management of the problem as well. Then we have the logical design, which is design of the capabilities of new or improved system. And then we have the physical design, which is a specification of the component to be used in new or improved, which can include designing the security education, training, and awareness, and so on. And then we have the implementation phase, which is planning the project, build out the system, and basically bringing it up and running. And then we have maintenance, which basically monitoring the new system and evaluation of a need for a new cycle. So as we mentioned in investigation, it often begins as a directive from the management, specifying the process, outcome, and goals of the project and its budget. And its creation of security policies to meet some goals or outcomes. And as I mentioned before, team assembled to analyze the problem, define a scope, specify goals, and identify the constraint. In this phase, also a feasibility analysis determines whether the organization has enough resources and commitment to actually successfully analyze and design this system. In the analysis phase, this is the preliminary analysis of the existing security policies that are out there, as we mentioned, known as threat, and also looking at the current controls and analyzing the relevant legal issues that could affect the design of the security solution. So in this stage, risk management begins. The next is the design phase, which is consists of 2 phases, logical design and physical design. Logical design is design of capabilities of the new or improved systems. and they can create a blueprint for security. And in the physical design, the team member evaluate the technology that's needed to support the security blueprint, and also generate other solutions and alternatives. So training and awareness could be part of the physical design. The design phase also, it would be 3 categories of control. The managerial controls, which control over security processes that are designed and by the strategic planner and executed by the security administration of that organization. And then we have the operational control, which covers management functions and lower level planning, such as disaster recovery, incident response planning, and also looks at personal security, physical security, and production of input and outputs. And then the technical control addresses the technical approach that is used to implement the security in the organizations. In the implementation phase, the security solutions are acquired, tested, and implemented, and they are being tested again. Personnel issues are evaluated, and a specific training and education program will be also conducted. Most important part of the implementation phase is the project management plan, which you are going to plan the project, supervise the task that and actions that's needed, and also wrapping up the project. The project team should include the champion who initiates that project, the team leader, the security policy developers, the risk assessment specialists, also other security professionals, the system administrator, and as well as end users. Each organization should look at the options for staffing the information security functions. They have to first decide how to position and name that security functions. Then they have to plan for having a proper staff for that security functions. Then they have to understand the impact of information security across every level of IT. And then they need to integrate solid information security concept into personal management practice of the organizations. Let's look at the information security professionals. We have the Chief Information Officer, Chief Information Security Officer. We have the Chief Security Officer. We also have Security Manager, Security Technicians. Also, as part of the security program, we might have the data owners, the data custodians, and also data users. In terms of maintenance, basically once the information system is implemented, and it must be operated, and it must be keep up to date by following the procedures. If the program is not adjusting adequately to the changes in the internal or external environment, it might be necessary that the cycle to be begin again. So maybe you need to evaluate of the need for the new cycle. So in this maintenance, you are actually monitoring the new systems. So there is a maintenance model which is intended to focus organizational effort on system maintenance, such as external monitoring, internal monitoring. Also, planning and risk management could be part of that model. Vulnerability assessment could be part of that model. Readiness and review, and also vulnerability assessment and remediation could be part of that maintenance model. So in the maintenance model, we have the 5 different areas: internal monitoring, external monitoring, readiness and review, planning and risk assessment, as well as vulnerability assessment and remediation. That's it for this chapter. Now let's summarize what we have learned. And at the end of this chapter, we are going to take a quiz. So I just want to emphasize that planning is very important to the management of organization, and it's the job of the manager, top level of manager, to create that plan. So in order to develop and implement effective planning, and we need to basically look at the vision, value, and mission, and strategies of the organization. Strategic planning looks at the long-term direction that needs to be taken by the company and guides organizational efforts. Security can begin either as a grassroots effort, which is a bottom-up approach, or by the senior management, which is a top-down approach. Information security governance is a process of creating and maintaining the organizational structure that manages the information security function within an organization. It has 5 key objectives: a strategic alignment of information security and business objective, use of risk management practices to guide information security decision-making, implementation of relational resource management practices, measurement of performance of information security function, and delivering value to the organization. We talked about the system development lifecycle is a methodology for design and implementation of information system in an organization. It's a formal approach to the problem solving based on a structural sequence of procedures. By using this methodology, we can ensure the process and increase the likelihood of achieving the desired final objectives. Also, we talked about security system development lifecycle, which is actually it's the same kind of a methodology. The traditional way is called waterfall model. In a secure development lifecycle, it starts with investigation phase, which is a directive from upper management dictating the process, outcome, and goal of the project, as well as its budget and other constraints that the project could have. In the analysis phase, the team looks at the security policies or programs. Also, they look at the documents and look at the current threats and associated control with it. This phase also includes an analysis of relevant legal issue that could affect the design of the security solutions. And risk management begins at this stage as well. The design phase of system development lifecycle has 2 phases, one logical design, and then the second one is physical design. In the logical design phase, a blueprint for security are being created, and the key policies that influence later decisions are looked at and implemented. In the physical design, the security technology needed to support those blueprints are being evaluated, and alternative solutions are being generated, and a final design is going to be looked at. The maintenance phase and the change phase of the secure development lifecycle is the last one, but it's more important one, given the flexibility and persistence of many of the threats that we are facing today. Once the information security is implemented and is up and running, it must be managed and it has to be controlled in various phases. Additional procedures are needed to keep the organization safe, and because a lot of changes could happen. This is it for this section. Now we are going to look at a short quiz and we are going to answer it together. So let's look at this practice quiz. Which phase of the CGTF framework involves determining where you are relative to where you want to be? Initiating phase, diagnosing phase, establishing phase, or learning phase? The answer is B, diagnosing phase. True or false? Information security objective must be addressed at the highest level of organization management team in order to be effective and offer a sustainable approach. That's false. According to the ideal framework, which functional roles should be responsible for communicating policies to employees and coordinate training? Which of these roles do you think? It's C, mid-level manager. Which of the following governance process as outlined in ISO 27014 involves a review assessment of organization information security performance towards a goal and objective by the governing body? And the answer is monitor. A. Why the bottom-up approach is less effective than top-down approach? And it's B, because it has lack of management support. And normally top-down approach is more effective because it has the management support. That's it for this chapter. See you.